Hi everybody, hope you're well. I'll just get my mic over here. Just don't want it to fall off the chair. Hope you're all doing well today. Thanks for joining me. Going to be giving you some more updates again today. So thanks for joining me, everybody. We'll just wait for some people to come in. So lots of things still going on. A lot of people are worried about different things, but I'm going to go through some things in a moment and try and reassure everybody. So thank you for joining me today. If you want to pop a comment down below, please do, and I'll show it on screen wherever you are in the world. Obviously, this applies to the United Kingdom about coronavirus. And some of the NHS, there's a news story which has gone out today, which I just want to try and reassure people. If you're watching this on replay, please do share it. If you're watching it on catch up, do share it as well. And if you've got any comments, please do post them below. If you just bear with me a second and I'll get this message up for you. Hope you're all doing well. I was sunbathing in the garden earlier on, but I've come back in because it's gone quite chilly out there. So about 4 hours ago, BBC released a news article saying Autistic Support Group told it needed DNR, which is Do Not Resuscitate orders. So this applies a GP surgery which said autistic adults should have plans to prevent them being resuscitated if they become critically ill. As being criticised, Voyage Care, which cares for the group, was sent a letter by a surgery in Somerset about the coronavirus crisis. On Twitter, the firm's boss, Andrew Cannon, who he actually follows me on Twitter, said there has been no consultation with families, and most involved were working age adults. Somerset Clinical Commissioning Group, the CCG, has declined to name the surgery. It said it was investigating the matter further. The paperwork is known as Do Not Resuscitate, which is a DNR, Order or Advanced Care Plan, and sometimes used if someone is nearing the end of life or of a complex medical condition. The paperwork is usually drawn up by medical professions with cooperation of the patient in question, if they have the capacity to do so, or with their family. And Andrew's message on Twitter clearly stated, Andrew tweeted out, also today, 3 services in Somerset, Derbyshire and East Sussex where GPs were contacted by teams to say, I've deemed that people we support should all be DNR, no consultation with families. However, it goes on to say in this BBC article that the Somerset Local Medical Committee, which represents all GP practices in the county, said that the letter had been withdrawn. The CCG was alerted by the Somerset Patient Carer Forum. A forum spokesperson said, we have reported our concerns to Somerset CCG, that this has happened with our area and they are taking the matter very seriously. I should think so as well. The CCG are investigating the reports that have been made and have assured us that they will take appropriate action. Please do not let us know if you come across this. Similar cases as happened last week in Brighton and South Wales as health social carers responded to the coronavirus pandemic. The NHS have issued a statement saying that in recent days to say that the blanket DNRs covering all people at one setting are unacceptable and all decisions must be made on an individual basis. They also say a learning disability, autism, or stable long-term disability like cerebral palsy are not in themselves ever the reasons for a DNR. So That's that. I'll just share you an article here. I've got a screen up here, a letter which I found on the internet from the NHS. You can get it online as well. I've posted it on a previous comment below. So I'll just get the screen up for you so you can see it here. So workforce guidance for mental health, learning disabilities and autism, specialised commissioning services during the coronavirus pandemic. And it says that this document provides mental health, learning disabilities and autism a specialised commissioning workforce guidance and considerations for systems providers, NHS commissioned services and staff to ensure that all safety in the workplace is maintained during the COVID outbreak. So it gives an introduction there as well, general principles, ways staff should work, releasing time and care, CPD, safe staffing models, managing the capacity and demand within patient, community mental health, learning disabilities and autism services, patient and care engagement and communication. The general principles are all there as well. You can all see that on the screen. So the principles are people with mental health needs, learning disabilities or autism should receive the same degree and protection and support with managing COVID-19 as other members of the population. So basically it's saying that you know, people with autism and learning disabilities, cerebral palsy should actually receive the exact same care as anybody else, you know, who is, you know, typically neurotypical. So I'll just bring that screen up again for you. So it says there, in preparing for responding to COVID-19, staff with a mental health, disability, autism providers need to make difficult decisions in context. When considering plans, providers should consider not just patients' vulnerability to physical infection, also vulnerability stemming from mental health needs, learning disability or autism. People will be at risk, mortality through suicide, injury, or through self-harm or self-neglect. So this document is quite an in-depth document. It goes on about PPE, staff and well-being. So I got this document from the internet about multidisciplinary care, etc., etc. So that's all there. I'm going to show you in a second a letter. Another letter from, I'll just remove that one and I'll get another letter which I found off the internet. Just bear with me. Doing quite too many things at once here. It's a letter here. I'll just bring that up on the screen for you. How's everybody doing today? Do let me know in the comments. What we get some messages here. Julie says it on Facebook, so they're taking their human rights way. Not necessarily, Julie, not taking their, I think there's some sort of misunderstanding or some miscommunication that went out. Julie also says their responsibilities are to save lives, not to play God and choose who lives and dies. So yeah, basically, I think it is a misunderstanding, a miscommunication through this DNR. However, I'm going to bring up another letter here, which I should bring up on screen. the wrong one there. Just bear with me a second and I'll get the right screen up. So this letter here is, which was off the internet as well. Basically, it's from the NHS saying, "Dear colleagues, we are writing to ensure that there is clarity in relation to the Clinical Frailty Scale, CFS, which CFS stands for Clinical Frailty Scale, and the use do not attempt to DNACRP with younger patients and those with stable long-term physical needs." In May 2019, the National Medical Director, Professor Stephen Powys, wrote that regard to learning disability, the terms learning disability and Down syndrome should never be a reason for issuing a DNACPRC order or to be used to describe the underlying or only use cause of learning disabilities. Early in the week, NICE have issued rapid guidance on admission to hospital and to critical care. COVID-19 rapid guidelines and critical care in adults, NICE guideline NG159. The guidance made reference to assessments using Clinical Frailty Scale, CFS. The guidelines were amended and changed on the 25th of March to make it clear the CFS should not be used in younger people with autism and stable long-term disabilities. For example, cerebral palsy, learning disability or autism. An individual assessment is recommended in all cases where the CFS is not appropriate. NHS England have improvement to publish specialty guidelines for active management of patients with suspected confirmed COVID-19, which include specific guidance on the management of people with learning disabilities and autism, to which clinicians are strongly recommended refer to. The health of some people who have a long-term disability and a diagnosis of autism may be a risk from coexisting physical conditions, and also the inadequacies of access for delivering appropriate and timely assessment and treatment for physical health conditions. It is imperative that decisions regarding appropriateness and admission to hospital and the assessment and treatment for people with disabilities and or autism are made on an individual basis and in consultation with their families or paid carers, taking into account the person's usual physical health, the severity of any coexisting conditions, and their frailty and time examination. Treatment discussions should not be made on the basis of the presence of a learning disability and or autism alone. So basically, just to make that clear, that I think, it was a misunderstanding, there was a miscommunication. NHS and NICE have updated their guidelines now on the frailty scale, and that people with autism, learning disability, cerebral palsy, they have every right, like every other human being with a physical condition, any type of condition, really. Vicky says on Twitter, what does Vicky say on Twitter? Vicky says on Twitter, surgery should be named. People have the right to know that they are safe and people charged with providing their care. She also said it's totally shocking that every person, it's inhumane, every person has the right to life and healthcare, no matter what of their disabilities. That's what she says on Twitter. Totally agree with Vicky there. So So basically, they have updated their guidelines. So I've just thought I'd come on to just to reassure people and let people know that obviously this BBC article went out, which was, true, and the surgery did put out to some doctor surgeries that a person with autism. I like your New Jersey. Oh yeah, New Jersey. Thanks, Angus. Yeah, you stay safe too. Thanks for your messages. So basically, a lot of people, a lot of parents have messaged me today on Facebook and Twitter. Were worried about this article, but if you read the article in full, then if you go further down the article, which I've shared with you on Facebook and Twitter, it does say on that article, right at the very end on that BBC article, there is a quote and a statement from the NHS saying that a number of organisations, including NHS England and the British Medical Association, have issued guidance in recent days to say, and I just want to reassure people and emphasise this, that in recent days it said that blanket DNRs covering all people at one setting are unacceptable. So the NHS and the British Medical Association have said it's unacceptable that and all decisions must be made on an individual basis. They also say that learning disability, autism, or a stable long-term disability like cerebral palsy are not in themselves another reason for a DNR, which is do not resuscitate. So I'm really pleased that NHS England and the British Medical Association have issued that statement just to reassure parents, carers, and people with autism. So I just thought I would come on and let you know about that. Don't forget, I've got 2 great shows coming up for you next week. I've got my friend Kathy Letty, who has got a son with autism, Jules, who plays an actor in Holby, the TV programme. She'll be joining me next week on my show. Can't wait to have her on. We'll have a great chat with Kathy. And also, I've got TV presenter and BBC broadcaster from BBC Radio London on my show. I've got the one and only Carrie Grant will be joining me as well on my show. Can't wait to have Carrie on my show, and also Kathy as well. 2 great shows coming up for you. Don't forget, everybody, the sun is still out. It's still shining. Have a great... I have to actually look on my watch though what day it was. I'm sure you're the same as well, losing track of days. It's Thursday today. Have a great Thursday. Enjoy the Easter weekend, bank holiday Easter weekend. Make sure you don't go to any, parks or beaches. Stay self-isolated. Stay in your back gardens if you've got one. And have a fabulous Easter weekend. And don't forget, don't eat too many Easter eggs. Until next time, stay safe, everybody. Take care.